Hello, welcome to another video. And am I wrong about the One Piece live action show? So I finished the One Piece live action show a couple days ago. I've given myself a couple days to just kind of think about it and kind of reflect in a way. And I've watched other people's videos regarding this show and what other people have kind of thought of this show and whatnot. Overall, the show is getting a bunch of love and praise, and it's being paraded around as the greatest live action anime conversion type of show ever. Now, I'm going to say I agree with that the One Piece show is definitely the best live action switch from anime to live action. You know, it's the best adaptation, like, by a mile. And if we're being honest, the bar it's fucking low. But I just want to talk about it and just kind of give my opinion, just because there's parts of the show I really enjoyed, and a good bit that I was kind of just like taken aback by, if that makes sense, or just kind of felt meh with. That's just my I don't think it's a hot take. It feels like a hot take. I feel like I'm in the corner of like everyone's having fun enjoying this thing, and I'm on the outside being like, fuck that thing. You're having fun, you're enjoying something, I'm being different, and I don't like it. And I'm usually not in that position, I find myself. I'm not trying to just not like the show because everyone's liking it. I really enjoy One Piece, the anime. I'm a big fan, watched it, it's really good. I was going into this like probably everyone thinking it is going to be the worst thing ever. I think of anime adaptations, One Piece, off the top of my head, it would have been a really bad one, just because the different abilities, how quirky the world is, how big the world is, everything like that. It just seems like of all the animes they could adapt, this one had the most uphill battle to make it good. And I will say they made a lot of good steps with the show. It's not all bad. Absolutely, it is the best adaptation that there has been. Quickly to say what I enjoyed about the show is that I don't know how, it's hard to just pinpoint specific things, but the live action felt like it just had the charm of the anime. A lot of times the adaptations just feel like their own standalone thing that doesn't it doesn't feel like the anime, if that makes sense. Like, you're watching it and you're like, yeah, this is just, it's not working. I didn't feel like that at all with the One Piece show. I felt like it was very charming. It felt like One Piece. Everything, the characters, they definitely knocked down some of the personalities, I'd say, for the better. Absolutely. Usopp isn't fucking terrible. Another good thing that I really enjoyed with the show would be the nostalgia of going back to the beginning of One Piece. One Piece has been going on forever, basically, and there's so many episodes that it's been so long since seeing the original Romance Dawn type of East Blue arcs of the show. It was really nice being brought back to the start and just kind of experiencing that again. They made the world look really good, the ships, the props, everything like that they knocked out of the park. The actors, I would say, did a very good job. Honestly, every actor, I think, in each character really fulfilled the aspect of making them feel like their own, in a way, if that makes sense, while staying true to the anime. The personality, everything, it just fit for that. That part fit, it just felt like One Piece. And now this is where I'm going to say good, but it's going to start teetering into bad. They made a lot of changes, to say the least. Some things I enjoyed for changes would be the whole Mihawk introduction. I think they did that extremely well. I think they flushed him out more, just because a lot of new people are going to watch this show and watch One Piece. They know Mihawk is a fucking badass character. Let's put him in the forefront more and make people be like, wow, that guy's a badass. The other character that I thought kind of got much more expanded upon in this part than anything in the show, a lot of these characters was, what the fuck's his name? The other cadet marine, Morgan Axehand's Son, I can't think of his name. It's a weird name. He got a lot more screen time than any bit of the show, really. Like, his character arc and everything like that with Kobe was neck and neck right there. I understand it because in the actual show there's really not much Marine build-up or story in the anime in the beginning. They're just, like, there, and they're partially seen as the bad guys because they kind of are to Luffy and them. I enjoyed seeing more of that and having them, like, kind of build and develop more, if that makes sense. This is now where I'm going to start getting into the bad. There's definitely other things I enjoyed about the show. It made me smile at times, everything like that. It had good charm. It felt like One Piece, which is definitely the biggest hurdle that they overcame, where it didn't just feel like some fucking skeleton bullshit to try and make money off of. I think by far the biggest problem that happened in the show is that it was only 8 episodes long. It felt rushed for certain arcs because of that, and they definitely made changes and such because of it, which I feel like a lot of them were for the negative, but I don't think they had they didn't have the choice of actually leaving stuff in because they only had 8 episodes. Overall, I think a lot of the stuff that I didn't enjoy can be tied back to it only being 8 episodes long, which I don't I understand that this cost apparently a fuck ton to produce this show, and so they probably couldn't make it 15 episodes long or anything crazy. 8 episodes. I feel like if they could even have made it 12 but still covered the same bit of story, it probably would have felt better to me personally. Some of the big changes that I couldn't jive with, if that makes sense, that happened is the first one, the big 4 cats yelling at me, I know. The biggest change is Garp. If you haven't watched the anime, he's there during the beginning, but he wears that dog hat. It hides his face and everything. You don't know who he is until a few arcs down the line. And then when that happens, it's more of a shock just because it's like you've went through however many episodes, this guy's a pirate, you learn more about Luffy and everybody, and then it's like, oh yeah, his grandpa is Vice Admiral. Holy fuck. In this, it just felt rushed with that, and I understand that they needed some other type of plot going on. It just felt like it shouldn't have been there to me personally. Garp was always chasing him and everything, and I felt like the climax or the payoff of that whole story of just Garp beating up Luffy a bit to then just tell him it was a test, it felt off, because I was sitting there watching this and I was like, well, what the fuck, how are they gonna end this? Because he's gotta eventually just escape Garp, because he's gotta, have the whole thing happen. But I didn't expect it to just be like he beats him up and then it's like, well, I guess you can go do your adventure. I wanted to make sure you were ready to be a man. It didn't feel great with that story arc. The other really big change was the Don Krieg just basically not being in it. I think that hurt the show by hurting its characters of developing them in a certain way. Mainly because Don Krieg was like a whole half arc in the anime. Luffy has a full-on fight with him at the restaurant. In the live action, it's just Mihawk killing his entire crew and then killing him. It just felt like that was rushed. I understand, again, it's back to this, they didn't have the time to flush out everything, which overall is the big thing that hurt the show. The fact that Luffy didn't fight him, I feel like it just kind of didn't help develop Luffy and the crew. Luffy has to adapt and learn how to use his, devil fruit powers and everything to overcome Don Krieg and his devil fruit powers and fight for his crew and build this more friendship, gonna protect my friends type of thing better by doing stuff like that. It just felt like he was completely scrapped. That whole arc was about the Zoro and Mihawk thing, which was it was actually pretty good. I was not complaining about that. That was something, though, if we're being honest, if they fucked that up, the whole show would have crumbled. There's so many iconic scenes that they did do good in this show, I will say, which was good. The Zoro tied up thing was good. The Nami stabbing her arm thing. All that stuff, I think, was really well. But overall, the shortness of the series makes the crew and everything not feel like a crew and like not feel like a family, if that makes sense. It just felt like everything was so rushed that they didn't have the time to actually make them feel like they were coming together and that they were going to be these 5 friends, crewmates that were going to go conquer the Grand Line and become these, accomplish all their dreams together. By the end of the show, it just kind of felt like it was quick and they were just checking a checklist off in a way as the show was going on. First 2 episodes to me were my 2 favorite. It was it was when it was the 3 of them, because I felt like that chemistry was working well with them like growing and developing the characters together. Now, talking about the Syrup Village arc, that's probably my least favorite. It felt really rushed. It was very different. A lot of the fighting did not happen in the mansion. It actually happens right off the coast, I'm pretty sure. I have the books, I could look. It just felt like that one, that they wanted to get through that one the quickest so they could add Usopp into the crew. It was, he is what he is. He's a fool, he's a liar, no one believes him, yada yada. And he didn't really overcome anything like he does in the anime and in the book and the manga. Because in the anime and manga, he steps up and actually tries to fight, and he's not the strongest, but he fights and shows them that he's willing to protect them and fight for them and everything like that, and his friends, and there's some good development why Luffy would want him onto the ship. In the live action, it didn't seem like that happened at all. He shoots one slingshot and the fucking Kuro literally just catches it. That's what he did the entire fight with Kuro. They nerfed Kuro extremely because I'm pretty sure when he like shook his hands a bit in the anime and then the manga, he like goes in like even faster kind of thing. And I always thought that Luffy, how he beat him was that he would get hit, but then he would, hold him. It's kind of cliche, but he did that so he could actually hit him. He'd let him get hit so he could hit him back kind of thing. Django, the hypnotist guy, completely didn't have him in it. He's a great character, funny character. It was a shame, I guess, again, the time constraints. Syrup Village arc overall, I just felt like wasn't great. At the end of Syrup Village arc, they also have the kiss at the end. People are probably a little pissed off about it. I don't care. Like, it doesn't change anything like drastically to me at that point. But while I was watching, I would try to convince myself that it's like a different universe. It's like a multiverse of One Piece, and it's its own branch. Those are probably the biggest like issues I have with it. The Garp stuff, I don't understand it. Another thing with the whole like crew not feeling much like a crew is like when Sanji joins it, he just kind of like joins it abruptly. There wasn't really no hesitation. He was just super happy, and then he was there. He's definitely the most forgettable of the 5 personally. He's in it the least amount of time. Last other issue, sometimes the effects were a little iffy, I'd say. The show cost a fuck ton, right, to make apparently. Some things were a little iffy. Arlong, don't love the look. I don't know how you'd make it look better in a live action. That's part of like the whole world and quirkiness. I didn't know how it would really work. So I can't complain too much about that. Some of the abilities are a little weird. One question, I don't want to spoil anything if you haven't watched. If you don't know what it is, I'm sorry. But the little bits of hockey that they showed in the anime, don't love it. I don't know how else they could do it. So that's something for like the future. That's like kind of a question. But overall, I do think that this show is the best adaptation of an anime that has ever happened. Do I think it's like the greatest thing ever? No, I think people are so happy and excited and praising it because it had such a low bar, but it did clear the bar. I would say it cleared the bar. English. I will say it cleared the bar significantly, but the 8-episode time constraint just kind of fucked it in a lot of ways that made it hard to overlook. I enjoyed most of the time watching it. There'd just be like this thing where back in my head I'm sitting there watching like, fuck man, it could have been so much better, is why I think I'm kind of, that's my little issue with it right now, is that if they had more time to flesh out more characters and the crew and the story, I think it could have been amazing. I understand. They probably looked at it, knew how much episodes, and thought, okay, what parts of this could we cut out and it not be, not go to shit. Looking forward, like in the future for this show, after it finished, I kind of thought like, how are they going? What's the plan for this? They kind of just skipped Luge Town, it seems, unless they end up there in season 2. If they have a season 2, it could happen. I don't know. It teased Smoker. That's good. I'm glad. He's a really good character in the show. But there's just so much anime that they could have to cover, and the characters don't age because it's an anime. So I have no clue what the whole future plan for this show could be. I don't know when their like dropping off point could be. My first thought was Marineford, but holy fuck, there is a lot until Marineford. There is a lot of arcs and different stories up until Marineford, so they're either gonna have to skip a lot. Like, there's still Skypiea. Like, there's so much that they're either gonna have to completely skip, or which is gonna piss people off. Like, it'll be a shame if they completely skip Skypiea. Now I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. We'll see. I don't know. But there's a lot. Alabasta is probably going to be really fucking good. It might end after Alabasta just because of how expensive it is. Overall, though, I think it was good, but it could have been so much better if it had more time and more episodes and everything like that. So overall, like, I think it's just kind of like, if you want to experience One Piece, I'm sorry, it's going to suck, but you're going to have to go on the journey of watching the anime. Skip the filler, obviously. Overall, that's kind of my thoughts with One Piece show. I just want to do kind of a different video today. Don't expect these all the time. Just me talking, going over what I like and didn't like and everything like that. Overall, let me know what you think of the One Piece show in the comments. Like if you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing. I post every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'm getting close to 200 subscribers, so I help a bunch. But other than that, I'll see you guys in the next one. I hope you have a great weekend. Peace out.